Ghost stories, we tell them around campfires, we watch them in movies, but they are so much more than just a quick scare. They're like these echoes from the past, right? The reflections of our deepest anxieties, and sometimes they're basically history books written in the language of fear. Today, we're going to dive into two really chilling figures from completely opposite ends of the world to see what they can tell us about ourselves. But first, a quick question for you. Just look at this scene. Imagine you're there. It's late. You're all alone. Do you keep going, or does that little voice in the back of your head, that primal instinct, just scream at you to turn back immediately? Let me know in the poll. It's that exact feeling, that deep-seated caution, that's the fertile ground where these stories begin to grow. All right, let's start our journey in Southeast Asia with a legend that is so visually unforgettable it's haunted the region for centuries. We're about to meet a creature that really embodies that deep-seated fear of protecting what is most precious to us. Meet the Krasue. By day, she looks like a totally normal, even beautiful woman living in the village. But when night falls, something truly horrifying happens. Her head actually detaches from her body, and her heart, her stomach, her intestines, they all just dangle below as she floats through the darkness, searching. And the folklore around the Krasue is incredibly specific. As you can see, she has a bunch of names all across the region, like the Op in Cambodia or the Penanggalan in Malaysia. She preys on pregnant women and newborns drawn by the scent of blood. But here's the thing. The stories also give you a defense. By putting thorny branches around your home, communities had a very practical way to protect themselves, to ensnare her trailing organs. So this isn't just about some monster. It's a story that highlights the huge social anxiety around childbirth and the collective duty to protect the most vulnerable people in the community. Okay, so from the anxieties of a village, we're going to travel across the world to the vast, lonely landscapes of the Andes Mountains in Peru and Bolivia. It's a place of absolutely breathtaking beauty, but also a history of profound sorrow. And here, a very different kind of predator walks the night. And his methods, well, they're terrifyingly different. This is the Karisiri. Now, unlike the grotesque Krasue, he often just looks human. Maybe an outsider, a stranger. His goal isn't just to feed, but to extract something fundamental from his victims, their fat, which in Andean belief is like a vessel for your life force, your energy. And he doesn't use brute force. No, the Karisiri's attack is stealthy, almost supernatural. He finds travelers all alone on these dark roads and uses a special powder or a spell to knock them out, making them completely and utterly vulnerable. And the details here are what make this legend so deeply unnerving. Get this, he uses a small machine, a maquinita, to perform the extraction. There's no tearing of flesh, no big visible wound. It's this clean, almost surgical procedure that leaves the victim seemingly unharmed. The real horror starts the next day. The victim wakes up, no memory of what happened, but they just feel this growing weakness. They start to waste away, their life force literally draining right out of them. It's this slow, inexplicable death. It's the fear of being hollowed out from the inside without ever even knowing why. But here, this is where the story completely changes. The Karisiri is so much more than a boogeyman. To really understand him, we have to stop looking at folklore and start looking at history, because he is a living memory of trauma. This timeline right here, it's the key to everything. See, the face of the Karisiri has changed over the centuries, but he has always represented the powerful outsider exploiting the local people. It started with the Spanish conquistadors, who were actually documented using indigenous fat to treat their wounds. The monster was real. Later, that fear got transferred to friars and then to foreign engineers. And today, it can be anyone who comes from the outside with power, taking the resources, the very life force of the community for their own mysterious ends. So the Karisiri isn't a story told just to scare kids. It's a way of processing centuries of exploitation. It's a scar, a collective memory of having your land, your resources, your very vitality stolen from you. It's a legend that gives a face to a faceless, systemic horror. It makes you wonder, what stories does your community tell? Go ahead and drop a local legend from your home in the comments. You might be surprised to find that a lot of these tales have relatives in other parts of the world. So, what connects a floating head in Thailand to a fat stealer in Bolivia? Why do these stories stick around with such power, passed from one generation to the next? Well, the answer, of course, is us. It's about what these stories do for us. This really gets to the heart of it all. It frames two very different kinds of anxieties. On one hand, you have the Krasue representing an internal threat, the fear of a danger that could come from inside the community, threatening the family, threatening the continuation of life itself. But then you have the Karisiri, who embodies an external threat, the fear of a powerful force from the outside that comes to take and exploit. These aren't just monster stories. They're social tools for understanding our world and its dangers. And they survive because of how they're told. They aren't learned from textbooks. As one account of Andean life beautifully puts it, these stories are learned by themselves, just by listening, curled up with family. They're passed down with warmth, with love, in the safest of spaces. They become part of our memory, part of how we understand our place in the world, and our connection to everyone who came before us. Which kind of leaves us with a final thought. We often think of monsters as these things that have to be defeated, to be banished. But what if their purpose isn't to be forgotten? What if the most enduring monsters are actually the ones that live inside us, in our shared memories, reminding us of what we've lost and what we must always, always fight to protect? Go ahead and save this if you like spooky stories that come with real context, not just jump scares. And let us know in the comments what country's legends you'd like us to explore next.